right, y'all. Trying to let me go close that door. All right, y'all. So today we're going to be patient, and the window is open behind me, so it's giving me a little bit of a glare. So I'm sorry about that in advance. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb, because people be disturbing. All right. All right, so who was here yesterday? Thank you, Nolita. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, lady. How are you? Okay, so who was here yesterday? Because if you were, then you know that we went through the NASDAQ application, and this is gonna bother me. Sorry. Yeah, that glare was going to get on my last nerve. Okay. So if you were here yesterday, then you know that we went through the NASDAQ application. And one of the things that they asked for was a corporate resume. So we're going to do a training this week on building a corporate resume. Okay. We're going to do it Friday. It's going to be Friday at, what time did I set it for? 6 p.m. I think. 6 p.m. So we're going to learn how to build out corporate resumes. It is free for the community members. It is pay what you want for people who are outside of the community, okay? So, that being said, it is an asset that you're gonna need. Community members are free to join for free. And there is a $5 minimum, even though you are paying what you want, because when you pay attention, all right? So, somebody's asking to be a guest. Who? No, we're not doing that. All right, so, Robbie, how are you? So that's that on that. Today, we're going to be going through what application? Hold on. Make sure this volume is up, because the way Instagram and TikTok be playing me. All right. So today we're going to be going through the StartHer Microfund application. Really easy application, simple to go through, and we're not going to be here long. I can promise you that, unless you guys have questions or there's things that you want to do or discuss before we leave, okay? So, that being said, when you get a chance, go to the link in my bio. It says building a corporate resume, and that's the event for Friday, all right? You asked, I delivered. We're also going to be using ChatGPT to kind of build out your description. I'm going to show you how to sync your resume. Hey, Shabrene, how are you, dear? We're going to sync your resume to create a description. We're going to use ChatGPT to build that out. I'm going to show you how to use keyword research to kind of set you up to be searched for in your industry. I'm going to also show you how to build and connect your online website or your online presence to your resume. And then if you want, you can even use that same framework to build out your LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn, you need to be on LinkedIn, okay? So all of those things will be done. If you don't already, I would say that if you're going to take that training, one thing you want to do, if you're going to be building out your corporate resume, is to buy a domain name that is your name, all right? You don't have to, but it looks better. If someone searches natalienoisette.com, which I have not updated yet, I'm going to actually do this as a function of all of us doing this too. We're going to do it together, okay? So if you have not purchased your name as a domain name, then I would suggest you do that, okay? You're cyclical? I don't know what that means. Okay. Clarify for me, Nolita. All right, so That's one thing that we're going to do. I'm going to show you guys how you can use the website that I'm going to tell you about to connect your domain name to your new online presence. And we're going to do some keyword research. We're going to build out your resume, build out the elements of it. It's a really simple format for a resume. It's nothing fancy or cute or like all the extra stuff. For an exec resume, you don't need all that. What's, sorry, physical name, but you answered it. Okay. So it's real simple, real formatted. The most important thing is the content of it, and we'll do that. So link in the bio, and it's called, the link is going to be titled Building Out a Corporate Resume, and it's going to be under the link for the 6-figure grant winner community. All right. If y'all want to join that training on Friday, it is free to community members. If you're already in the community, you don't got to worry about it. If you are not in the community, it is a $5 minimum, but you can pay what you want if you find the value in it, right? If you find the value in getting this information, then you can pay what you want, whatever you believe it is valued at. But there's a $5 minimum because when you pay attention, all right? So let's do this StartHer application. Again, it's a really simple application. We're not going to be here long. We're going to treat this session as a working session per usual. And we're going to grab a Word doc if you're using your computer or your phone or whatever you're using. We're going to treat this as a way to qualify what we're putting into our answers, right? So let's say, because this happened to 2 people in the community. They recently won grants, and then now they don't know what they responded with the grants. But those are the ones you want. You want to keep those answers. Because if you win, you want to be able to reference those answers. So we keep our answers, you guys, all right? Do not make that mistake. That's 1. 2, what else? We're going to go through the qualifications per usual because we want to understand that if we are speaking to grant funders, we need to know how we are aligning ourselves with them, or if we are aligned. All right. So we always read the eligibility requirements, the qualifications, whatever you want to call them. And so we're going to do that. What else? I was thinking something else came to my mind. I forget. Okay. Can you pin the URL for the app? What app? Oh, the application? That's a good question. Can I pin the URL? Sure. So if someone wants to type in peanut, www.peanut. Because I can't comment on the thread. So www.peanut-app, peanut-app.io /start, like starting a car, start her, as in her, he, her, him, her. That is the, what is it called? The URL. I will pin it. If someone can type that in for me, s'il vous plaît. I would appreciate you. Can I type into this? I think I can respond. Oh, I can comment. Oh, wait, there it goes. Comment. Yeah, there it goes. Didn't know I could do that. All right, so did someone do it? No. Okay, so let me comment real quick. www.peanuts/app.io. Okay. /start her. All right, and then we're gonna send that, and then let me pin that comment. Pin this comment. All right, let me know if you guys can see it pinned. It stopped me. Oh, you're cool. Don't worry about it, Nolita. You're good. Hey, Jolina. All right, cool. So this application is really short, so we're not gonna be here too long. I probably talked more than we're gonna go through the application. So when Michelle Kennedy founded Peanuts in 2017, she had one mission: to help women, keyword, foster meaningful connections, another keyword, all right? 4 years later, her extension of that mission is her Peanut StartHer, a microfund investing in women and underrepresented founders of all ages, life stages, ethnicities, and sexual orientation, all keywords. StartHer challenges the biases in venture capital and provides access to the exclusive friends and family round. For many founders, raising money from friends and family isn't an option because their existing networks don't have the resources to offer such funds. Very true. right? StartHer aims to give everyone a fair chance by reshaping funding dynamics, providing access to professional networks, and ultimately becoming home to the new faces of entrepreneurship. So if you're an early stage, pre-seed business that strives to make a positive impact on society, healthcare, or the environment, we want to hear from you. All right, so two things I'm going to point out here. It says early stage and pre-seed. So for anyone who has questions about whether or not you need revenue, or if you are just starting, this is for you. All right, this is quite literally your grant. All right. Impact on society. We were talking about social enterprises, building impact-based businesses. This is also for you, all right? Because we were talking about that yesterday, how this is the new model now. We are not just making a profit anymore. We're making a profit and impact. And that's how we position everything. That's how we go through our proposals. That's how we go through that's how what your business plan should reflect, all of the assets, okay? We are even going to talk about that in the resume as well, all right? So now, healthcare and or the environment. So this one would be good for Nolita. This would be good for Chabrene. This one would be good for Jolena. And I'm just mentioning people that I just happen to know are in the community who are actively pursuing grants. Sharita, we're going to have to finesse this one, all right? So it says, we want to hear from you. We intrinsically understand the pain points of trying to build a business while building a family. We see the invisible labor undertaken by women every day. We see the motherhood tax, and we see how this impacts women development into entrepreneurship. All very true. All right, what we're looking for. Now they're talking about what they want to see in the applicants. A mission that has an impact on your society or your planet. There we go. Again, with the impact, right? Founders who are underrepresented in the venture capital market, which is all of us. All right. Companies that are pre-seed. So that means that pre-seed is the round that precedes, no pun intended, but precedes all of the other funding rounds, like a Series A, Series B, Series C. And those are like where you go and pitch in front of an investor. All right. So if you have not done any of those things, if you have not gotten money from any kind of investment at all, then this would be for you because you have not gotten any funding. That may not include debt and that may not include grants. I don't know if I'm not affiliated with them, so I don't know if that's how they're qualifying it, but this is what I understand it to be. All right. So how can we help is what they're saying. They're giving funding, mentorship, and strategic networking. All right. The route to that first check is never easy, but with the right help and support from the beginning, we can level the starting line. Apply now. All right. So what I don't see is the amount that they will be funding, which is interesting, but we'll see. We're going to keep going. Another thing that they mentioned is that the submissions are on a rolling basis. So if you find that you reach out and you applied one time and maybe you refined a couple of things, oh, it's up to 50K. Okay, good. That's perfect. So I'll make a post about that a little bit later so you guys can reference it or save it or do whatever you want. And in the community, this one is on the opportunity list, all right? Next, what else? So here is a little tidbit that you want to hold on to if you're really serious about funding, like really serious, right? They say apply today for the opportunity to start StartHer's investment committee, including Michelle Kennedy, Berenice Magistretti. I'm going to not butcher the rest of these names. That's what I'm not going to do, right? Because I'm trying to put respect on people's names. I don't want to do this. So there's a bunch of names here. I would follow all of them on LinkedIn. I would do my research about every single one of these people. I would see what they're up to. I would see what they're not up to. I would see what aligns with them. Because if there's questions about, especially if there's a question at the end that says, what else should we know about you? And your mission aligns with one of these people, you better drop their names and align with them, okay? Major key, all right? Put yourself in front of them. Put yourself at the top of their minds, all right? I will go ahead and follow all of them on Instagram, or not Instagram, LinkedIn, because I'm sure they probably have a LinkedIn presence because it's presumed to be more professional. So there's that. All right. But this is only for the people who are serious. This is not for the people who are just kind of trying to get a dollar. All right. No shade if you are trying to get a dollar, but this is like high level. I'm trying to build relationships type actions. All right. So StartHer is a microfund investing in women, underrepresented founders of all ages, life stages, ethnicities, and sexual orientations who strives to make a positive impact on society, healthcare, and the environment. We will write checks up to $50,000 and will likely be your one of their first. Okay, so their goal is, she said, y'all better listen. That's funny. So their goal is to be one of your first funders, okay? So because of that, I will also place a really big emphasis on putting yourself in a position to be first, right? Of that kind of amount of money. Because some of you guys have won like smaller amounts, like, 1,000 or 500 or maybe a couple thousand here and there, right? But if you have not gotten a check up to $50,000, then you want to place an emphasis on you being there first, but then also how that first is going to impact, your business moving forward. So it says it takes 7 minutes. It's probably going to take us a little bit longer. If you have a proposal and pitch deck and already have those things built out, then you should probably be shorter. So it says, once you've submitted your application, please wait to hear from us. Our investment committee meets every 6 months, and all applications will be considered then. Okay, so they are on a rolling basis. They don't have a deadline for this. So I would say you're just gonna have to wait. And I guess from the time that you submit, if you say, I'm gonna wait 6 months from like today, let's say you submit it today, just when you reference there, and there are templates in the community. So if you want to, when you reference a template, then you can go back and say, hey, I submitted my application on this and this date. I know your committee only meets every 6 months. I just wanted to kind of touch back and see where you guys were in the review process. All right. So that's that. So let's just begin. My mouth runs so dry when I do these. All right. So first question, is going to be your name. All right. So I'm not applying to this. Am I? I don't know. But I'm just going to put test for now. I'm just not going to submit. So it's asked for your contact email address. Always use the email address that has to do with your business domain. Okay. If you have one, that is what you should be using, preferably. All right. If you don't beat yourself up about it, but it does look more professional. Consider getting one. All right. Yeah. So there's that. And then we'll do that. Right? And then the next question is name of your business. Fourth question is the stage that you're in. Now, they put other here, but they are really making an emphasis on pre-launch and launch. So for people who ask all the time, hey, can I get a grant if I don't have anything yet? I just have an idea. I haven't launched yet. This is the grant you need to be applying for. All right. So other, and then you can type your answer if you are maybe in another stage. All right. So I'm going to put launched, and I'm going to keep moving on. Number of employees. If you are considered an employee. So if it's just you, you can click 1. All right. If it's more than just you, you can put that number that's relevant. So number 6 is, do you have previous funding? Let's see what happens if we press yes. It says, how much previous funding have you raised and from who? So you can put the funding amount that you've been able to acquire. For this, I would not put credits. Like, for example, like we have one young lady in our community who's gotten a couple of like AWS credits and scholarships and like other opportunities outside of grant funding. I would put the dollar amount for this one. So if you only got like 3,000 in funding and you've gotten like 7,000 in credits or 25,000 in credits, I would leave the 25,000 out. All right. Next, let me go back because I want to see what happens if we press no. Okay, if we press no, it just goes to the next one. So if we put yes, then number 7 becomes how much previous funding have you raised and from who? And then from who could be grant funding. I would say the grant funder's name. That's fine. Unless they have like something that says you can't disclose it. But then if you can, then I would say from who. But if not, then I would say we've received $1,000 from grant funding from various foundations or organizations or whatever. All right. So I'm going to just put grants here. And then number 8 then becomes pitch your business in no more than 500 words. What is your business or business concept? Don't forget to include the important parts. Who is your target audience? How will you monetize? In which markets? How do you need to prove? What do you need to prove to get to launch? Okay, gotcha. All right, so sorry, that question just went over my head for a second. All right, so don't forget to include the important parts. So first of all, the important parts is who you are, right? What about self-funding? No. This is an investment group, so I'm going to automatically assume they mean like external funding. Just came across my FYP. What grant is this one? So it's this opportunity right above my head. So the comment should also be pinned too with the URL. It's somewhere. I don't know how the pin looks on your side, but it should be the pinned URL. All right. So what were we talking about? Okay, so who you are, right? That's most important. Always introduce yourself. It didn't pin. Damn. 1 second, let's try. Let's try again. All right. Let's try again. Pin this comment. Did it work this time, y'all? Sorry. All right, if someone can put it, I'll pin it. I'm sorry if it didn't. But yeah. All right, so what was I saying? Don't forget to include the part. Okay, so who you are is one of the most important parts, all right? But when we answer who we are going to answer it in very true. Okay, true. All right, so who we are is going to be a function of what we do and who we serve. So you already kind of get your target audience somewhat in there, right? But because they want more specifics on target audience, I'd probably include a little bit more detail. So what can I say about this? So I would introduce myself as credit conversion is a, and then you would put in what you do, right? Is a blank agency, is an advocacy firm, is a, speaking with Shop Renee yesterday, she described herself as a socially conscious venture or something along those lines, right? So you understand that they understand that there's an impact, but there's also capital involved or revenue involved, right? So, and I love the way she put that because that's what's up, right? Especially since they are focused on impact. So always talk about who you are, what you do, and what you do can also be a function of the market that you are in, right? Or the benefits that your consumer gets, and then you can talk about how you benefit your consumer. So something along the lines of, sorry. If this was a marketing company, you could talk about the visibility that you help your consumers access, right? And the type of consumer that wants to access it. So the group of people that you work with the most. So it could be for new businesses. We support new businesses in getting visibility or building verticals for their products if they're new to marketing, or if they're new to, like, what is your consumer experiencing? If they are seasoned entrepreneurs and looking for better ways to get in front of their customer, because that's what you do. You don't really sell ads, right? You're gonna do that through ads. That's the product, but what you do is the byproduct of how what your customer wants. Your target audience is also in there because you're talking about new entrepreneurs. Also popped up in Google search for grant name. Okay, awesome. So you can also talk about it from who you're serving. Like, we help new entrepreneurs that are looking to scale their business because that's your target. So if an entrepreneur was not yet at the phase of scaling, they wouldn't be for you, right? So I don't want you guys to make this like a whole thing. Just talk about it from that sense. And what their pain point is, what you're solving for them. So who you are, what you do, and then for whom, all right? How will you monetize? So you have 500 words. That's a good amount of words. So you have a space to do this. How will you monetize? You could talk about your go-to-market strategy. You could talk about, we have a section in the proposal, so this is for Jolina and Sharita and Alita, if you're here, that talks about your pricing strategy, right? How will you monetize? You could talk about the different ways that you can diversify your revenue, right? You can talk about segmentation, which is just different areas of your market that you can tap into. And in which markets, you should know which market you are part of. This is super important. If you are not sure, this will require some market research. And I would say maybe go into what you, first of all, figure out what you build and for who, and then kind of reverse engineer it to understand what is the closest market that fits into that, and then what's the closest segment that fits into that as well. All right. I don't really know how to explain it outside of it, like more concise than that, without having to literally do a training on it because it's extensive, right? So it's extensive background information, but if you can kind of use that as a starting place, then you should be okay. So what else are we talking about? In which market? So figure out which market you're in, because as if you heard the episode with Alyssa that launched on Monday, she said one of the reasons people get disqualified when she's reviewing applications immediately, because these grants give her a criteria in which to evaluate whether the application is going to move forward or not. She said one of the biggest mistakes is just these companies not understanding what industry or what market they're in. That's the first thing. First disqualifier. So if you can get to a point where you can understand where you are, you've already given yourself, it's like the SATs where you can get 800 points off because your name is spelled incorrectly, right? So kind of like that. So understanding like that basic foundational thing of what market you're into, what market you're in, or what industry you're in is going to help you kind of even frame some of these answers too. All right. What do you need to prove to get to launch? So pretty much, what do you need? It doesn't only have to be money. It could be, I would not only focus on money, because remember we have 500 words here. So I would also focus on maybe a strategic partnership that you want to form, especially since yesterday we were just talking about strategic partnerships. So maybe you want to align yourself with a nonprofit in order to be able to get more of a social impact without having to build out a brand new department or something, right? Or maybe what you need to prove to get to launch is mentorship. That can be something that would be a good opportunity to drop someone's name in here, right? One of those people that we spoke about earlier during the review of the qualifications, right? So just some things to think about. But what else do you need? So think about this as though this is the next thing that's going to be moving your business forward. If you don't have any idea about what to say, just think, okay, if I do not change one thing about my business right now, how is this going to impact the business? Maybe you need better systems. Maybe you need financial support in the sense of like understanding your numbers or understanding your business. Maybe you need market research. Maybe you need to understand what market you're in and what market you're playing in, right? That may very well be the truth. So we're going to put those answers. Does anybody have any questions about that? Because that's pretty much the biggest piece that we've kind of delved into thus far. Any questions? No? Okay. So, the next thing that they're going to ask for in number 9 is a pitch deck. All right. And in the deck, they want a business plan. So I would advise you get one or do one. All right. Tell us why you should be investing in you. If you have trouble uploading. So the next question is going to be a link that you can drop to that pitch deck if you can't upload it for whatever reason. All right. So, I'm trying to think how we could do this. And a swap. Yeah, absolutely. Don't leave that swap out if you know it's good for you. right? Good call, Julina. For good measure. Amen. That's right. See, this is y'all make me so proud, man. I can't. Y'all gonna make me I can't handle this. All right. I really feel like a proud mama when someone does this. I really, really, it makes me happy. For good measure is right. All right. So then there's a link to drop your pitch deck if you cannot upload it for whatever reason. And then next thing they're going to ask you about is who your competitors are. Jolina with the psychicness. All right. So who are your competitors? So when we talk about competitors, we break it down in two facets. All right. One is going to be your direct competitor. We're going to do this exercise again because we haven't actually had a competitor question in a really long time. Sharita, Nolita, and Chabernet, and Sharita, if you're here, are not allowed to answer. All right, because you guys know this answer. This is for everyone else that's not you for. All right. So I'm going to explain what a competitor, the direct competitor is and the indirect competitor is, and then we're going to do a little exercise. All right. Right. Exactly. So first and foremost, the direct competitor is the person that you have one-to-one competition with, right? So if I own a nail salon and I do nails, but there's also a lady down the street from me that does nails, she is my direct competitor because we're on the same block. We have the same foot traffic. We may do things differently. That's not the point, right? The point is she's my direct competitor because we have the same offering and we're trying to attract mainly the same people. The overarching thing is that our customers both want their nails done, right? That's the outcome. But our indirect competitor is going to be someone who, whenever we are not, me or the nail lady down the street are not available, they would go to. So in this example, who is our indirect competitor for nails? And anybody who answers this question correctly and first will get free access to Friday's resume building training. So it has to be first and correct, not just first. And not just correct. Okay. Who got it? Who got it? Who got it? We're building out corporate resumes on Friday. So who wants to take a stab at who our indirect competitor would be? Hair, no. So think about where your consumer would go if you're business-wise, a business, right? What business would your consumer go to or could go to if you were not available to do their nails? Ready-made service like Amazon. Yes. Yes, that's right, Kia. So Kia, if you could do me a favor, please. Anyone who is within the same business as I am. Yes, but let's assume it's like 11 o'clock at night and all the nail stores are closed. Target is a good place. Amazon is another place because Amazon might be able to do like same day delivery. They might, or if I'm booked that day, right, and I can't get to you, Amazon could do same day delivery next day if you can kind of get with it, right? CVS is another place I can get press-ons. Anywhere that can solve your immediate need that is not me, that can still get your objective met, is an indirect competitor. All right. So that's how we're going to think about it. So don't only think about, so for example, I did a SWOT a couple months back. It was earlier this year for a restaurant, right? He was trying to build out this like family restaurant. But what it came out to was that Walmart is another place. So any of these big box retailers that sell or franchises or these places that sell the solutions for her to get her nails done or him to get his nails done. So, I gave an example earlier this year of this gentleman who wanted to build out a family restaurant. But what happened was he thought his indirect competitor was, it was a family restaurant, family style, you know, there was like a little area for kids to be able to play and just made it feel real family-like. And when we did his indirect competitor, a lot of people thought it was like McDonald's because McDonald's was faster food. It also, a lot of these locations still kind of have like playgrounds or playpens or whatever it was. But what it turned out to be was that his indirect competitor was a park. because families could go there, their kids could play, and they can bring food. And that's what the indirect competitor was. All right. So it's anywhere your consumer can go, get all their needs met. That's not you, or even within your same niche or whatever. Right. Usually within the same niche, whatever they call it. But so since I'm a third party collector, the immediate meds and hospitals. Yes, exactly. Because if the hospitals decided that they wanted to implement, that, put that into their, like, bring that service in-house, then you are now competing for that debt with the hospitals if they no longer want to outsource that, right? So there's that. What else? I'm trying to think, what were we going to talk about next? Yeah, so that's your direct competitor. So when we're talking about indirect, first of all, we're going to talk about who our competitors are. So notice that they made it plural. So first thing we're going to say is who our direct competitor is. If you want to get real fancy and cute with it, you could talk about their market share depending on how big the company is. You can talk about their revenue. You can talk about their strengths, weaknesses, and strengths and weaknesses. You don't have to go into an entire SWOT, because I think you should put your SWOT in your pitch or your business plan that you're submitting. So you can talk about their strengths and their weaknesses, and that's pretty good. Same for indirect competitor. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like there's something at the tip of my tongue, but can't call it. All right. So how much are you raising is the next question. Whatever number you put here should align with how much you need to be able to move your project forward. All right. And you should have that outlined somewhere. And then that's it. It's asking you to submit. If it's direct, is that determined by the distance the businesses are? Good question. I feel like if the business is in a specific catchment, then it could. But let's say you're the only two within 10 miles of each other, and you're the only two that are there, then that might still be relevant for you to be direct. Right? Because if I live closer to one, but you're not open, or you don't have my immediate need or what I want, I would still go to the other one, even if it's 10 miles away. So it depends. Like, honestly, yeah, it kind of depends. I would say it kind of depends, especially if you only serve a small little area. All right. So that's that. Any questions before we move forward? Any questions? Any questions? Sorry, y'all. She said, yeah, I've been trying to get funding. Okay, so what questions do you have? Because we've been talking about funding for a little bit. Depends on what type of funding you're looking for. Depends on where you are in your business. Depends on a couple different things. So that statement, I need way more context. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any gentlemen here, Friday, I don't know where to get started. You know what? Honestly, I would say just join the community, because all the resources are there. All right. Yes, ma'am. So just DM me with with your email address, and I'll add you to that particular training for Friday. All right. I have a real estate business. Is it hard to get funding? What sector of real estate are you in? Because no, it is not. I primarily serve real estate clients, and there's a lot of money out there. Right. It depends on what you're doing. Like short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, long-term rentals. No, do not email me. Emailing me was for Kia, because she answered the question correctly for the example that we gave, the little activity that we did. And I would like to give her a spot in Friday's training. All right. Emailing me, if you want to email me, then what you can do for that is Probably, I'm going to give you a link for a strategy session, probably. All right. Property management. Property management. Is there funding for property management? Is that the question? I just want to make sure I'm answering correctly. So for DIY, she says long-term student and low-income housing. All right. Yes, there can be funding tied to that. It really depends. And when I say it really depends, y'all, I'm not trying to like withhold information. It really does depend. All right. So low income housing, are you trying to get a tax credit? Are you trying to do like affordable housing? Because if it's affordable housing, then maybe look into Section 42. That would probably be your best bet if it's affordable housing, right? And then it would also depend on the the AMI that you're going into, because that also will impact it as well, right? And then it also depends on what type of funding you're looking for, because if it's debt funding, then there's plenty of debt funding for that, right? Are you trying to develop the property yourself? Or are you going to buy the property? Because if you're buying the property, then you can get a loan, right? That's funding. You can get a loan. And then if you already have if you have the leases already worked into the agreement before you purchase the property, then you're more likely to get it, because they'll work in the amount of the lease into the total value of the loan, right? So let's say, for example, or the mortgage, the mortgage price, for your ability to afford it. So you can do like a provisional agreement, and then you'll be able to increase your chances of getting that property. So let's say it was a 4-unit property. Thank you. Thank you. So let's say it was a 4-unit property, and you have the income, of course, to qualify. This is assuming you have the income to qualify, and then you have provisional leases, or you have like some states require a certification for low or income housing. All right. For low or moderate income housing, you have to have that for like to be able to get Section 8. So if you have that voucher or you have that certification, you can apply that to the loan. They'll take the rental values of that area, which you could, or if you come with the leases already, and they will add that to the value of the loan, like what you can qualify for. And then if you need to rehabilitate the property for whatever reason, you can get a rehab loan, right? So, and then that also works into the LTV of the loan itself. So, there's a couple different ways you can do that. So when I say it really depends, it really depends. And this is why I have the strategy sessions, you guys, because I cannot give you, okay, not that I can't, I could, but one, I'd be here all day, because I'll have to break down all the different nuanced situations. I don't know which pertains to you. And two, I do not feel confident giving you advice that I would use, or I would feel confident giving without more context. Like I could be shooting in the dark right now. Notice how I gave like so many different scenarios. So your options are to book a strategy session. We'll figure out where you are and where you want to be and kind of where it fits. If I can't help you, you get your money back. That's that, right? So if I do feel like I helped you, you ain't getting it back though. don't tell me I didn't. If it was helpful information, I'm keeping your money. All right. But if it was not helpful, I know I cannot help you, you will get your money back. And then on top of that, we also just make it a point to join as many sessions as you can, because I've been giving out a lot of information. We've done business credit trainings. We've done trainings on nonprofit work, credit, market research. Like I can't even really think of all of them. And this week we're doing the training on the building out your executive resume, but it's not just your resume. It's going to also be tied to your presence online. It's going to be your ability to qualify, all of these things, and all of them work in tandem, right? I'm not teaching these things as isolated things. We go through these applications and you see these things come up, right? They do come up. They ask for an exec resume. They'll ask for a pitch deck. They'll ask for a proposal. They'll ask for all these things. So just tap in, stay abreast to whatever we're doing. And that is the best way for me to help you outside of just getting a strategy session or we'll piece the information together. And I'm always good about giving you what you need next, right? Or what you need to do. So that's all I can do without like exhausting myself. So what else can I do? Okay, so who else are we talking to? Construction loan, USDA. What about it? HUD grants. What about them? Okay, see, I need more context. So HUD grants, HUD gives grants mostly, and from what I've seen, right? Again, I have a lot of real estate clients. I can ask for more context, but for HUD, I've always seen them do grants for relief, right? And we gotta talk about this one day, because people ask a lot of questions, and there's nothing wrong with asking questions. I invite them. This is how we learn, right? Because we have to ask good questions. There's really a mix up about the different types of funding, right? When it comes to like some money that you don't necessarily have to give back unless you don't do what you're supposed to with it. One, if you're looking for something related to education, we're looking for scholarships. Okay? Right? If we're looking for housing, usually what I've seen, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm saying I've usually seen this. It's relief grants, right? So you're back on your mortgage, you're back on your property taxes or your HOA fees or something, and you need some relief to be able to get ahead of that, right? But even then, you still have to demonstrate how after you've received the relief, you're going to be able to catch up moving forward. So there's still, legwork involved. So HUD has a lot of programs related to relief. So if you're looking into HUD, then HUD relief. Grants, other funding from HUD, we can talk about that another time, because I don't want to talk about real estate. That's my day job. I don't want to talk about this here. But yeah, there's a lot of other things related to HUD. Construction loan, USDA. I don't know what you mean by that. News to your page and excited to learn. No problem. If you want to, again, I'm going to extend the invitation to you guys to join Friday's training on building out your executive resume. And it's also going to be low-key building out your online presence too. So that is going to be Friday. It is pay what you want, but there is a $5 minimum. All right. So if you find this information valuable, I'm going to know by what you by what you pay for it. That's no pressure. Just letting you know. Because when you pay attention. So that's why I did it that way. All right. So understand. Thank you. Will do. No problem. Is this application for a grant or for investors? It is for an investment into your business by investors. And then, yes, you have. Thank you, Leisha. I'm booking my session. No problem. I need resume help bad. The link is in the bio under building a corporate resume. All right. It is a minimum of $5. Minimum. But you can pay more if you want. It's pay what you want. Minimum $5. All right. I'm trying to think. Oh my God. It's Alyssa. Alyssa. Who's Alyssa? Oh, hi, Alyssa. How are you? I'm sorry, I didn't see your comment. How are you, dear? We just were talking about you. Grants to start a business. This would be that grant. So the one above my head here, that's the one that is for pre-seed or launch. If you've launched or you are pre-seed. All right. 3.9K likes. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. We didn't even set a live goal, but I'll take it. Any questions before we go? We have 10 minutes, but any questions before you go? Thank you, ladies. I appreciate that. That's so sweet. I'm doing well, keeping busy. Your training draft will be in your inbox this weekend. I appreciate you. So Alyssa and I have been conspiring to bring you guys a training for SWOT analysis, like deep dive SWOT analysis that she is preparing, but our objective is to make sure that you're prepared to create a SWOT. So if you don't know what a SWOT is, it's an asset. I'm not even going to call it a resource. It's an asset that you need to be able to understand when you are applying for these grants and to really position your business anyway. You should do a SWOT for your SWOT, right? SWOT stands for strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. You're going to do that for your business. You're going to do that for your competitors. And then that is a key part of your proposal, your pitch deck, your business plan, you need to know who you're playing against, period. All right? You need to know who you're up against. Amazon does SWOTs. All right. If you want to, even if you're small, all right. And another thing is join the community. Thank you. Level Up Home. I don't know your name, but thank you. If you are going to start a business, right, I need you to join the community for another reason. This month, we read in our book club, The Business Bookshelf, from 6 to 7 figures. And one of the primary commentary that we received about reading that book was, I didn't know, and this is the same thing that happened for me when I was reading it. I didn't know that I wasn't running my business for real, right? Even though you're small, you gotta think big. You gotta play like a big player. These big players, this is what they do. That's why you see Apple and Samsung going back and forth with each other. Samsung makes an update. Guess what Amazon is doing? Making an update, right? Apple improves their camera. Samsung improves their camera. You know why? Because they're understanding that, oh, my competitor is innovating. Because they're direct competitors, right? My competitor is innovating. They've added a strength to themselves by improving on the quality of cameras. And we all create content. We need good cameras. Our consumers want good cameras, or the best cameras that can compete with like a DSLR or some other quality that's equivalent. I need to do the same thing. Otherwise, I'm going to lose market share. Don't want that to happen. So they're continuously assessing, hey, who am I playing against? Who's my biggest threat, right? And for us as smaller creators, as smaller founders, we need to definitely be doing this because our biggest threat is new entrants into the market, right? Let's say you're in the skincare market and right now, you know what? No, what was that example we gave a while ago? There was one example we gave a minute ago. It was so good. I can't remember it. And it was about new entrants. I can't remember. But new entrants are always going to be your biggest threat. Because the more the people that come into your similar market, the more you have to innovate. Because you have to do something that's different. Because especially if they're competing with you on price, forget it. Right? But that could also be a strength of yours. Like, Alyssa's going to go break this down more. I'm not going to sit here and take her job because she's the authority on this. So Alyssa says that she's going to have it over the weekend. We're going to schedule a time to do it. If you want to improve, like seriously want to understand how these funders think, they know that good businesses conduct SWOTs. If you're not running a good business, and I'm going to take the liberty of saying this, if you're not running a sustainable business and you can't express that when you're applying to these grants, forget it. All right. So, I am getting an error message when trying to schedule a consultation. That's odd. Let's fix that immediately. Hold on one second. Just give me 1 second, y'all. Because I just sent someone a link this morning. All right. Copy link. And then I'm going to do that. And we're going to edit this link. Oh, I know why. Yeah. All right. You can try it now. All right. So, yes, that's so true. We got to mirror big businesses in our field. Yeah, or do better, right? So mirroring is one thing, but also doing something way better, innovative, different, that like completely revolutionizes the market. Apple's really good for that, right? And that's why I feel like their fundamentals are super strong. And I'm not talking about investing. This is not financial advice. Please do not do this if you don't understand it, all right? But this is why I invest in Apple, because they are always 3 steps ahead, like easily 3 steps ahead. They're continuously doing market research. They're tapping into, like, when Apple pretty much became a bank, I was like, yeah, that of course you are. It makes so much sense, right? When they started giving out those Apple cards, of course. Starbucks, another great fundamentals, right? They pretty much are technically, and I'm using these terms very loosely, a bank too. Because you know how many people hold money inside of these these Starbucks cards or Starbucks rewards things, and they go unused, what do you think they're doing with that money? All right. So genius, right? These companies are always thinking ahead about how they are going to continue to maintain or exceed or even soup up the little guys in their market, right? Amazon is the same way. Amazon's another one. Great fundamentals. Customer experience. Supreme, right? You buy something from Amazon, it don't fit, you send it right back, and they give you your money back, right? 2-day shipping, unheard of, right? They're always innovating because they want to do better, right? Matter of fact, they integrated with the USPS to deliver and UPS and FedEx, right? I don't know FedEx, but I know UPS, right? So they're always thinking ahead. And that's how we have to act as small businesses too. But don't let that word small play you, because you are small by a quantification metric, but you have to play big in order to kind of keep moving forward. Another good company with good fundamentals. Oh, Amazon. Let's go back to the Amazon example. Amazon buys everybody. Okay. Some of the things, Ring was a purchase. All right. From Amazon bought the original product from Ring. They're always looking for ways to, create subsidiaries. So they're always like, all right, how can we improve on this? How can we improve on that? Streaming. They're in like every game. Amazon's in everything. So think about that. Audiobooks, Kindle, all of these things. Like they buy up everything. So not only that, and that's why they're monopoly, right? So they don't have to necessarily just compete. They can dominate. They're not competing. Amazon is not competing with anybody. They're dominating everybody. And as soon as Amazon sees a little bit of a threat, guess what? Jeff Bezos is in they behind, all right? And that's how the players play. This is for Friday, StartHer Microfunding. Yeah, so the StartHer Microfunding, this is not for Friday. Friday, we have Feedback Friday, and then we have a executive, building your corporate resume, your executive resume. And then Lissa says your SWOT is for everyone on every level, for every aspect of what you do. It's so important. Agreed. Couldn't agree more. All right. And then Chabernet said that part. Okay. So y'all, it's 12:58. So you know what that means? SWOT. Yeah. All right. So see y'all Friday, right? Yes, SWOT, SWOT, strengths. It stands for strengths. It's an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I'll announce that that training whenever Alyssa and I sort out a date. But for now, only thing going on Friday is, inside of the community, there's the Bloomberg call, which is a government contracting thing that we're doing for those that are in government contracting sessions with us. There's Feedback Friday from 12 to 2 inside the community. That session is dedicated to those who want to get feedback on applications that they're going through. So let's say you find an application that's relevant to you. You need help formatting your answers. That session is for that. All right. That is not, it is held live. You can listen in, but I'm not answering questions on live. That is specifically for community members. So come prepared with your questions if you have them. And then also we're doing the building your corporate resume session on Friday. That session again is $5 minimum. It's pay what you want, but there's a $5 minimum because when you pay attention. And that's how I'm going to do it for most of these trainings. I'm going to set a minimum and you pay what you want. All right. Will it always be the same minimum? No, because it depends on how long it takes me to do it or how many resources I have to pull to do it. But $5 because I've already done this training a couple of times, so it's cool. All right. Any questions before we go? It's already 1. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? No, maybe, kinda, a little bit. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you. Welcome to the lives. Any questions before we go, my dears? All good. All right. So in that case, I will see you tomorrow. We are doing what application? We're doing an application out of Charlotte. It's called Beyond Open CLT Grant. So if you know anyone in Charlotte who is looking for funding, you can send them my page. We're going to go live at 12, and that grant is specific to Charlotte, North Carolina. All right. So I will see you later, guys. Have a good one.